distinguished Senator Muhammad Ali Ndume, the Vice Chair, Senate Committee on Army, distinguished Senator Patrick Abamor, distinguished members of the Senate Committee on Army, principal staff officers from Army headquarters, and other members of my entourage, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I have prepared a short brief that I want to present. Before that, I want to first appreciate the chair and this distinguished committee, and to leverage on the opening remarks by the chairman of this committee in respect of what to tell Nigerians. We have challenges, really, but we are working on the challenges. The Army, along with other services, talking about Nigerian Navy, Nigerian Air Force, other security agencies and stakeholders, we are on it. And I want to assure of our commitment and dedication to achieve the result for which we are set. The mandate given to us by the President Commander-in-Chief, we are doing that. The challenges sometimes appear pervasive, but they are not unsurmountable. And many successes are being recorded. The only thing is that now for every one event probably you have seen happen, 10, 12, 15, 20 others have been averted, others have been foiled, others have been defeated. I will read a short brief I prepared for this meeting before we go into other session. And so I want to start by saying I wish to begin by appreciating the chairman, Senate Committee on Army, as well as other distinguished members of the committee for the opportunity to interact with you today in the overall interest of enhancing our national security. Over the past month, the Nigerian Army made concerted effort at enhancing our operations across the country, which are mostly in support of the Nigerian police, in order to improve the general security environment. In spite of the modest achievements through our intervention, the security situation across the country remains fluid as your Nigerian Army continues to confront transmuting threat scenarios, many of which beg for far-reaching efforts at tools other than military to sufficiently address them. This is therefore important to emphasize at this point that the enduring solution to a number of current challenges require a holistic assessment of their root causes and emplacing multidimensional interventions to address them. The Nigerian Army under my command remains ever willing and ready to continue to improve our operations and to act decisively. We are therefore confident that the weeks ahead portend optimistic outcomes as we are buoyed by the assurances of Mr. President Commander-in-Chief's business leadership and the support of committees such as yours in driving the activities of the various organs of government to accomplish ongoing operations. To this end, my brief will present Nigerian Army's effort at confronting the various security challenges. The brief will also highlight some challenges and then hint on the way forward. Now, overview of the situation and ongoing efforts in geopolitical zones. Remarkable strides have been recorded in the Northeast Theater since the beginning of the year. The offensive operations being carried out across the theater and in conjunction with the multinational joint task force has stabilized the situation in the region. Our troops have cleared and are dominating most of the terrorist hideout in Tombuktu Triangle, Sambisa Forest, as well as other locations in northern Borno. There have also been a lot of recoveries in terms of arms and ammunition, as well as various equipment from the terrorists. The operations were complemented by a well-crafted non-kinetic line of efforts and other enabling activities which ensured the sustained surrender of Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists. Thus, as of today, over 51,000 of the terrorists and their families have so far surrendered. Furthermore, there were multiple interventions to the theater in terms of the procurement and induction of needed platforms, equipment, and other logistics. A number of theater-wide mission-specific trainings for the troops, as well as targeted welfare initiatives, including the emplacement of the routine welfare flight to boost troop morale, were also in place. All these efforts have contributed to the successes being recorded in the Northeast Theater. Thus, it is hoped that by the end of the ongoing operations, greater normalcy would have been returned to the Northeast, leading to the return of more internally displaced persons and restoration of civil authority across the area. Now, armed banditry manifesting in the forms of terrorism, cattle rustling, and abduction for ransom are some of the main issues in the Northwest region. There were concerted efforts and interventions in Zamfara and Katsina states, which were earlier identified as hotbeds for the criminals. This necessitated a number of operations by 8th Division Nigerian Army with the support of other services and agencies, which helped to improve its overall presence with laudable successes. These actions, however, led to a noticeable drift in bandits' activity to some areas in Kaduna and Niger states. Furthermore, the relocation of some elements of Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists, including IED experts, to the northwest due to ongoing operation in northeast, as well as the economic gains, further exacerbated the threats in the region. These transboundary movements of the terrorists have unfortunately led to the surge in incidents recorded in Kaduna and Niger State, including recent attacks on the Abuja-Kaduna train service on 28 March 2022, as well as those on isolated villages, particularly in Kachia, Zangon, Katab local government areas, among others. Expectedly, efforts are ongoing with other services and agencies to expand our operations to clear the terrorists from their hideouts and rescue the abductees. There are also ongoing efforts at improving synergy and collaboration with other services and security agencies for holistic and enduring interventions against criminals. In the North Central, the security picture is generally a blend of banditry in Niger State and farmers' hardest crisis and ethnic clashes in Plateau and Benue State. This necessitated several interventions that have seen an improvement in the situation across the zone, although with some challenges, especially in Niger. In Plateau and Benue State, a depth combination of kinetic and non-kinetic efforts were driven by Operation Safe Haven and Operation Wild Stroke, which have curtailed the farmers' hardest crisis in Plateau, Benue, and Nasarawa State, though one-off incidents are still recorded. On the other hand, Niger State witnessed a surge in banditry activities, particularly in the months of January and February 2022, largely due to the southward movement of the criminals to evade operations in Zamfara and Katsina State. This necessitated several interventions, including the operationalization of a new army unit in Bida. The resultant improvement in the situation is being monitored even as greater stability is envisaged in North Central in the weeks ahead. In the Southwest, the security situation has remained largely calm with isolated cases of armed robbery and kidnappings. In addition, limited illegal oil bunkering activities continue to receive the required attention. Equally, the activities of criminals around the old Oyo National Park are being decisively dealt with. Furthermore, our contingency plans are undergoing the much-needed reviews to support the police as the electioneering period kicks in with the gubernatorial elections in Ekiti and Osun states scheduled for 18 June 2022 and 26 July 2022 respectively. Consequently, our formations are being resourced and efforts are ongoing in concert with other security agencies to insulate the zone from politically induced security problems. Security threats in Southeast continue to revolve around the activities of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra and Eastern Security Network. In this regard, intelligence-driven operations have led to the arrest and neutralization of a substantial number of the criminals and domination of their hideouts and camps. In spite of the gains made, the criminals have shown some resilience, with IPOB and ESN prying on piecemeal deployment of security agencies, although with very limited success. The criminals have also continued to invest in the development and deployment of IEDs, with a number of such IEDs having been recovered since the beginning of the year. Nevertheless, deliberate operations have continued to decimate their ranks, leading to substantial recoveries and improvements in the security situation. The South-South geopolitical zone has remained largely calm, although with limited incidents of kidnappings, cultism, and militancy being the main security threats. Significantly, oil theft in the region continues to constitute severe economic losses for the nation and provide criminals with funds for their illegal enterprises. Accordingly, the Nigerian Army has stepped up offensive operations targeting oil thieves with significant results. The efforts have been complemented in some states of the region through an improved buy-in of the local authorities against the menace of illegal bunkering. This has expectedly led to direct attacks against armed troops intended to dissuade troops from further illegal bunkering operations. The Nigerian Army will continue to further deepen synergy with other security agencies in order to enhance the flow of intelligence on major oil thieves with a view to countering their activities. In this respect, in respect of releases for the fiscal year, I wish to inform that the committee has received all salaries and allowances for the personnel as well as the overhead releases up to date. Other releases we'll discuss in private session. Now observe challenges. And I said that in spite of the modest achievements, it is evident that there are areas needing more intervention to enhance our operational activities. A few are hereby mentioned. And I said need for additional manpower and force enablers. The chairman, sir, the Nigerian Army is far stretched beyond any other time in our history. The plethora of security challenges imply that our troops are largely committed to operations in one theater or the other with little respite to recuperate. It is therefore increasingly becoming clear that a systematic and fast-track surge in manpower strength of the Nigerian Army is imperative to be able to maintain presence and adequately support the police as required. Similarly, the employment of other force enablers, as well as further development of the capacity of the primary security agencies responsible for internal security is imperative. And I say finally, in these challenges, absence of buy-in of various stakeholders. And I said that security remains a collective responsibility and requires the buy-in of the respective stakeholders to be effective. As stated earlier, an enduring solution to the security challenge is a holistic assessment of the root causes of these issues. Unfortunately, there are challenges in securing adequate buy-in of all the stakeholders to come to the understanding that security is a whole of nation effort. This has, for instance, limited the flow of information necessary to promptly identify threats and deal decisively with them. There is therefore the need for sustained advocacy by the respective national institutions, such as this distinguished committee and National Assembly, in order to awaken the various stakeholders to their responsibility. In this regard, it would be necessary to evolve a whole of society approach for the respective security challenges confronting the nation. The way forward. I said that the current security situation across the country remains fluid and requires a whole of society approach. To this end, Nigerian Army conduct expedient that enhanced effort be targeted at identifying and addressing the root causes of the various security challenges across the country. It is equally important for the government to sustain efforts at improving the manpower challenges and equipment shortfalls in the Nigerian Army, while also improving the capacity of the primary responders in internal security. There is also the need to enhance ongoing measures to identify and track the sources of funding of insurgents, bandits, and other criminal elements with a view to stifling the flow of funds. The chairman, sir, distinguished members, I would like to end this brief by expressing my sincere appreciation to the distinguished committee in particular and National Assembly in general for your continuous support to the Nigerian Army as we continue to fashion out ways to improve the general security situation in our dear country. I have no doubt that our collective efforts will be crowned with the required success, inshallah. Thank you, sir, and God bless.